I'm about to say some things that many of you will probably not like. At least I can only assume, because for the last few months, I've seen nothing but people saying that Mojang is responsible for the death of Minecraft. In anticipation of the 1.20 Tales and Trails update, there's been countless memes about how lazy Mojang has been of its development. They've all been really funny, from one showing Mojang developers passing out after just 30 minutes of work, to another showing them panicking after being told to add one more pixel to the game. While these memes are hilarious, a lot of people do genuinely believe that Mojang developers are lazy and even incompetent. After all, shouldn't the billion-dollar company that owns Mojang be enough to get us more than one update a year? Don't we deserve more frequent updates as players from a company who should be able to easily make them? Well, I'm going to tell you my take, which I've never seen said before. I believe what Mojang is doing is very much intentional, and not a matter of some non-existent work ethic. Many have been happy to know the 1.20 update is slated to release soon, but I'm not as excited. I don't believe Minecraft is dying because Mojang is updating it too little. I believe it's dying because Mojang is updating it too much. I have heard so much complaining about how much time it's taken Mojang to update Minecraft to its next version. While I can understand people being frustrated with the delays and split release of the Caves and Cliffs update, as well as the removal of Fireflies, my agreement with the majority of the player base ends there. The time between updates is just too short. Let me emphasize, I don't think Mojang released updates in a well-timed manner. I believe they should have waited longer. You see, with every update, features are integrated into the survival experience with the intention of refreshing and expanding the game for its players. The hope is that by updating the game, 1, players might become more interested in the game, and 2, the long-term player experience might be better. While I think the number of updates we've gotten has definitely gotten players interested in the game, it's not improved their experience by any means. When an update is added, it naturally feels like outside DLC. Even if it looks vanilla, it still feels removed from the rest of the game that players already know, which is normal. When new content is added, players need to digest it in order for it to feel part of the wider game. No matter how many YouTubers they watched explain every feature through patch notes, it still takes time for them to add the features to their own routine experience. It's kind of like how if you play Terraria, or don't start for the first time, you have to do hundreds of playthroughs before you have a complete idea of what you can do in the game. Perhaps before you would start a world only focused on the basics, but by the time you become acquainted with the features enough, through long periods of trial and error, you naturally have an edge and scope of what you can do in a new world. While Minecraft is a much less complicated game than these examples, its updates function the same way. Sure, you know that amethyst geodes exist, but do you know where to find them? Do you know everything you can do with them? Do you see them as a natural part of your world that seamlessly fits into your experience? Or DLC you really have to venture out of your typical gameplay loop to interact with? Maybe you do know everything about them, but believe it or not, I'm willing to say the majority of players have not done much besides look at them once and never again. You think that's a crazy thing to say? Well, guess what? That's not even accounting for the tens of thousands of players who haven't even killed the Ender Dragon yet. And it's the same thing with bees, bastions, and even conduits. It takes a long time for the larger player base to become acquainted enough with features to see them as a passive part of the world rather than a closed off one they have to venture out with to interact with. And with every update, that only gets compounded and exponentially increases the problem. But even if you are someone who knows every single feature inside out, you're never going to use them all. Of course, there's probably some players out there who have been working on the same world since the game came out, steadily becoming acclimated and enjoying the supply of updates that give them more to do. But that's not the majority. I don't have stats, but I don't think you could argue with me in saying that 90% of players that start a new world from scratch do so every year, if not month. And when they do start a new world, they have to choose which part of the game they decide to pursue, because they haven't had enough time for the updates to feel like a normal part of the game. There's just too much content that has not had enough time to process and become a part of the player experience. Having to choose between whether you give attention to the ocean or the deep dark, because you know you'll get bored before you can do both, is not a good player experience. But it's not your fault either. Had these features been released less frequently, the majority of players would feel much less overwhelmed, and much more attuned to their gameplay, no doubt leading to longer, more dedicated worlds. In fact, while I already made a video about why Minecraft SMPs die so fast, this argument actually contributes to it. When the majority of players get onto an SMP, it's likely they feel disconnected from the world that they once had a mastery of. Now, I'm not talking about the initial grinding stage of getting wood, iron, and diamonds. That's many players' favorites. What's really happening is that players are thinking about how much they'll have to do to make the most out of their world, and that's why so many of them stop past the early game stage and restart. They're understandably overwhelmed with how bloated and complicated the game has got, so they decide to remain in the simpler stages, where the world actually still feels like they're molding it, rather than having a set path they're expected to take. Our world only lasts a week. Well, yeah, a world's life is built on motivation, and nothing drains motivation faster than seeing a giant mountain of content in front of you that you've barely had time to chew on. One of the reasons why older versions of Minecraft were so much more addictive was because it took less time to master the limited amount of features, and then build off of them using your imagination, which made everyone feel much more engrossed and in control of their experience. It was like being a painter with a palette, having all the tools at your disposal to make whatever you wanted. But now, the majority of players are just trying to figure out exactly what these tools do and don't feel free to just work on their creations. Now you can't play in a world without thinking about how you haven't had enough time to touch 90% of the game's content. And meanwhile, there's people saying that Mojang should add all 3 mobs from the mob vote. Are you serious? Are you telling me you've tamed so many foxes, interacted with so many pandas, and just visited so many polar bears that you think we need 3 more of these ambient space wasters? Unless you've been playing the game for 18 hours a day since it came out, I'm willing to bet you can't have thoroughly explored coral, lush caves, and the mangrove swamp enough to justify demanding more. Minecraft is a sandbox, but the lazy and uncreative want it to be an RPG. and mistake Mojang's unwillingness to pollute the game with a bad work ethic. They rush to progress their armor and tools, build a starter house, and visit the new biome for 5 minutes before saying there's nothing to do. If you want more exploring and adventuring, play with mods. That's a great way to get more out of your Minecraft experience. But don't expect to shove that amount of content onto the base, vanilla version of the game. The majority of the player base is simply not ready. One of everyone's favorite things to talk about when it comes to Minecraft's development is how much more a modder can add to the game than a mega corporation. Well, guess what? The reason why that comparison seems so bizarre is because, believe it or not, the mega corporation can add those features just as fast. They're just smarter than that. If you flooded the game with a new dimension, 18 mobs, and 50 features every week, it would die. It's already been diluted and oversaturated with content as it is. Was an update necessary to keep the game going when Update Aquatic was released? Yes. But if you look at the disproportionate amount of major updates that have been added since then, you might realize the reason why Minecraft is dying is the exact opposite of what most people think. I remember players begging for an update to Caves, and we got one so massive it had to be split into 2 parts. But suddenly, people are gonna riot if we don't get more interesting birch forests. Please. You wanna see what Minecraft would look like if we had the average double the content fans way? Welcome to hell. You want every biome that's ever been shown to us to be added tomorrow, yet you've hardly touched your copper and spikes. Do you know what would happen if Mojang showed the 2023 Minecraft community just how many biomes and mob concepts they've been too scared of never hearing the end of? It's understandable, but just ridiculous how we've made the mistake of thinking that Minecraft needs more content for it to be interesting. Do I think there's too much stuff in Minecraft right now? Yes. Do I think it should be removed? Absolutely not. The reason why so many parts of Minecraft come natural to those who have played it for years is because they've had years to play it and become acquainted with it. As a player, you need to process and use content enough before it can contribute to your world's success. While I don't think fans would respond well to Mojang slowing down and releasing updates less frequently, it would definitely help out the player experience. The updates we do have right now are great. They just haven't had enough time to become cemented into our playthroughs. With time, every update will become second nature, a staple of the game. That's just what time does. But when the average player sees an array of features they haven't had time to get familiar with another batch on the horizon, chances are they're not going to want to press their brain trying to force it into their game. When it comes to the development of Minecraft, there's no greater game where less is more. Instead of complaining about not having enough features, start using the ones you have, or you'll never be able to appreciate them. Unfortunately, this is an attitude very few players have, and so due to its limited features, 1.20 will be considered a failure. If you found what I had to say in this video interesting, please consider hitting subscribe. I'm a new channel trying to get my videos out there, and subscribing would really help me out. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. I'm Lufa.